Here are 10 little known celebrity facts that sound too wild to be true, but absolutely are. Sit back, relax, and let's dive into the unexpected.
Keanu Reeves is well known not only for his iconic film roles, but also for his extraordinary generosity, particularly during the production of the Matrix film series. Perhaps the most legendary example of this is how he gave away a significant portion of his earnings from the Matrix sequels to the special effects and costume departments. Estimates suggest that Reeves gave away as much as $75 million from his back-end profits, an almost unheard-of move in Hollywood. His reason? He believed that the behind-the-scenes crew were the real heroes of the film's success and deserved to share in its massive financial rewards. Reeves has long maintained a reputation for being down-to-earth and deeply respectful of those he works with. Rather than hoarding the profits from a billion-dollar franchise, he recognized that the groundbreaking visual effects, intricate fight choreography, and innovative costume design were essential to the film's global appeal. In fact, it's said that he believed the crew had made the movie and should be rewarded accordingly. This kind of selflessness is extremely rare in the entertainment industry, where top-tier actors usually retain their massive paydays, regardless of the production process or crew contributions. His actions during The Matrix weren't a one-off. Keanu has also taken pay cuts on other films, such as The Devil's Advocate and The Replacements, so studios could afford to hire big-name actors like Al Pacino and Gene Hackman. For him, the quality of the film and the well-being of the people making it have often taken precedence over personal profit. This ethos has helped build his reputation as not just a talented actor, but a genuinely compassionate and humble human being. Keanu's generosity has turned into something of a modern legend. And it's one of the many reasons he has such a loyal fan base. In an industry often criticized for excess and ego, Reeves' attitude stands in stark contrast. His decision to share his Matrix fortune with the crew didn't just reward their hard work. It sent a strong message about respect, collaboration, and valuing every part of the filmmaking process.
In 1952, Albert Einstein, already a globally celebrated physicist and humanitarian, was offered a highly unusual opportunity, the presidency of Israel. Following the death of Israel's first president, Chaim Weizmann, the Israeli government saw Einstein as an ideal candidate to serve as the nation's second president. His immense prestige, moral authority, and Jewish heritage made him a symbol of intellectual and ethical leadership that many believed could inspire the young nation. The offer was extended to Einstein by Abba Eban, Israel's ambassador to the United States at the time, through a formal letter. It was not just a ceremonial gesture. The Israeli government was serious about appointing him. However, Einstein respectfully declined the offer. In his letter of response, Einstein expressed deep appreciation for the honor, but stated that he lacked the necessary experience and aptitude for political leadership. He also believed he was too old, then 73 years old, and preferred to focus on his academic and humanitarian work. Einstein had long been a passionate supporter of Jewish causes and was an outspoken advocate for the establishment of a Jewish homeland. He was one of the founding members of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem and remained closely tied to it throughout his life. Despite this, he had complex views about nationalism and statehood, often expressing a more idealistic vision for humanity as a whole. This broader philosophical perspective, combined with his self-awareness of his own strengths and limitations, influenced his decision to decline such a weighty political role. Einstein's decision was widely respected, and it further cemented his image as a man guided not by power or fame, but by principle and humility. While he never took on a formal political office, his moral voice and intellectual influence continued to shape public discourse on science, war, peace, and human rights until his death in 1955.
The claim that Marilyn Monroe had an IQ of 163, higher than Albert Einstein's often cited IQ of 160, has become a popular and provocative internet fact, often used to challenge assumptions about beauty, intelligence, and the stereotypes surrounding both. However, while the comparison makes for an eye-catching headline, the actual evidence supporting Monroe's IQ score is tenuous at best. There are no confirmed records that Marilyn Monroe ever took an official IQ test, let alone scored a 163. The figure appears to be speculative, likely derived from anecdotal reports or retroactive estimates, rather than any documented psychological evaluation. Monroe was undeniably intelligent, curious, and self-educated. She was an avid reader with a personal library of over 400 books ranging from classic literature to works on psychology and politics. She studied acting seriously under Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio and was known to engage in deep philosophical and literary discussions with her close circle. Albert Einstein, on the other hand, never took a modern IQ test either. His estimated IQ of 160 is just that, an estimate based on his academic achievements, groundbreaking contributions to physics, and cognitive abilities as inferred by biographers and psychologists. IQ scores can be informative in certain contexts, but they are not always an accurate or comprehensive measure of someone's intelligence, particularly when comparing across vastly different individuals and eras. Ultimately, while the Monroe versus Einstein IQ comparison is more legend than fact, it serves a purpose in public discourse. It challenges us to look beyond appearances and reconsider the ways we define and value intelligence. Monroe may not have had a verified IQ of 163, but she certainly exhibited a keen intellect and depth that far exceeded the assumptions placed upon her by Hollywood and the public.
Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple Inc., was well known not only for his visionary approach to technology, but also for his unconventional personal habits and beliefs, particularly regarding diet and health. Throughout much of his adult life, Jobs adhered to a pescatarian diet, which means he ate no meat except for fish, and often experimented with extreme dietary regimens. One of his most notable dietary experiments was adopting a fruitarian diet, consuming mostly or exclusively fruits, nuts and seeds for extended periods. Jobs' interest in fruitarianism wasn't just about health in the conventional sense. He believed that such diets could purify the body and mind, improving not just physical health, but also mental clarity and creativity. One of the more peculiar beliefs he reportedly held was that eating only fruit could prevent body odor. This idea came from a broader philosophy rooted in natural hygiene and detoxification theories, which suggest that a clean diet results in a body so internally pure that it no longer produces unpleasant smells. During his youth and early Apple days, Jobs became fascinated with these ideas. After reading books like Diet for a Small Planet and other health literature popular in the 1970s, his dietary habits were so extreme at times that they alarmed those around him. According to his official biography by Walter Isaacson, colleagues and friends noticed that Jobs would sometimes go days eating only one or two foods, such as apples or carrots. He even went barefoot around the office and believed that his fruit-only diet meant he didn't need to shower regularly. His belief in the odour prevention effects of this diet reportedly led to friction with colleagues during his early years at Atari, where co-workers complained about his hygiene. While Jobs' beliefs about diet and body odour have not been supported by scientific evidence, they reflect his broader tendency to challenge conventional thinking and embrace alternative ideas. This mindset, while sometimes controversial, also fueled his revolutionary approach to design, product development, and leadership at Apple. In many ways, his dietary choices were just one example of his deeper desire to live deliberately and differently, from what he wore to how he built some of the most iconic products of the modern age.
During World War II, Queen Elizabeth II, then Princess Elizabeth, broke royal convention in a remarkable way by joining the Auxiliary Territorial Service, the women's branch of the British Army. In 1945, at just 18 years old, she became the first female member of the British royal family to serve in the armed forces as an active, full-time member. Her enlistment came after persistent lobbying, as King George VI initially resisted the idea of his daughter being exposed to the dangers and rigors of wartime service. Once enlisted, Princess Elizabeth trained as a mechanic and military truck driver, taking on the service number 230873. She trained in London as part of No. 1 Mechanical Training Centre of the ATS. Her training included learning how to repair and maintain engines, change tires and drive various military vehicles, skills rarely associated with royalty, especially in that era. She became proficient in stripping and reassembling engines, driving ambulances, and handling military-grade vehicles, earning the rank of junior commander, equivalent to captain. This period of her life symbolized a strong sense of duty and solidarity with her nation during a time of profound crisis. The sight of the future monarch in overalls and grease-streaked hands served as a morale booster for many Britons and helped bridge the perceived gap between the monarchy and the people. Her wartime service helped shape her lifelong commitment to public service, discipline and resilience. Her time in the ATS also laid the groundwork for her lifelong fascination with vehicles and machinery. Throughout her reign, Queen Elizabeth II was known for her confidence behind the wheel and often chose to drive herself during private moments, particularly at her estates in Balmoral and Windsor. In retrospect, Queen Elizabeth II's decision to serve as a mechanic wasn't just a personal milestone. It was a symbol of changing roles for women during wartime and an early indication of the Queen's practical approach to leadership, responsibility, and hands-on involvement that would characterize her record-breaking reign.
Before becoming one of Hollywood's most iconic comedic actors, Jim Carrey experienced a difficult and humble upbringing that included a period of homelessness. Born in Ontario, Canada, Carrey grew up in a working-class family where financial instability was a constant challenge. His father, Percy Carrey, was a musician and accountant who lost his job when Jim was a teenager. The loss of income plunged the family into financial hardship, and they were eventually forced to live in a van. At one point, the Carrey family parked their van on a relative's lawn, and Jim and his brother took jobs as janitors and security guards at a tire factory to help make ends meet. Carrey later described this time as emotionally difficult and filled with uncertainty. Despite these hardships, he maintained a sense of humor and a strong desire to perform. His early experiences shaped his character, fueling his ambition and resilience. Jim Carrey dropped out of high school at age 16 to pursue a career in comedy. He began performing stand-up in Toronto and gradually built a name for himself, though it took years of small gigs, rejection and hard work before his breakthrough. His big moment came when he moved to Los Angeles and landed roles on the sketch comedy show In Living Color, which led to his star-making performances in films like Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, The Mask and Dumb and Dumber. Carrey has spoken openly about his past, using it to inspire others who face similar struggles. His story is a testament to perseverance, illustrating how determination, talent, and humor can help overcome even the most challenging beginnings. His rise from living in a van to becoming a beloved Hollywood figure underscores the power of resilience and belief in oneself.
Freddie Mercury, the legendary frontman of Queen, possessed a vocal range that continues to astonish music experts and fans alike. He is widely reported to have had a 4-octave vocal range, which is exceptionally rare, even among trained opera singers and professional vocalists. While most people can comfortably sing within a range of about 2 octaves, Mercury's voice spanned much farther, reportedly from a low F2 to a high F6. This vast range allowed him to effortlessly shift between deep growls and high falsettos, contributing to the unique and dynamic sound that defined Queen's music. What made Mercury's voice even more remarkable wasn't just the range, but the power, flexibility and emotion he conveyed within it. He could switch between vocal registers, chest voice, head voice and falsetto with apparent ease, and he used vibrato and dramatic phrasing to enhance the theatrical flair of his performances. Mercury had no formal vocal training, yet he could mimic the tones and styles of a wide array of genres, from hard rock and opera to funk and disco. His delivery was so powerful and expressive that it became a cornerstone of Queen's identity. In 2016, a group of scientists conducted a study analysing Mercury's vocal abilities using archival recordings and vocal samples. Though they couldn't definitively confirm the full extent of his range due to the lack of surviving isolated vocal tracks, the researchers did find that Mercury's vocal cords likely vibrated at a faster rate than most people's, which may have contributed to his unique sound. The study also noted that he frequently used subharmonics, an advanced vocal technique rarely used in popular music. Mercury's vocal prowess was more than a technical marvel. It was an emotional instrument. Whether he was belting out rock anthems like We Are the Champions or delivering hauntingly tender ballads like Love of My Life, his voice had the ability to captivate and connect with listeners. This rare gift, combined with his magnetic stage presence and creative vision, helped elevate Queen to legendary status and cemented his place as one of the greatest vocalists in rock history. Freddie Mercury's 4-octave range remains one of the most cited and celebrated aspects of his legacy. While the numbers alone are impressive, it's how he used that range with passion, nuance and flair that truly made his voice unforgettable.
Before becoming a globally recognised action star, Vin Diesel lived a much more grounded and gritty life. One of his early jobs was working as a nightclub bouncer in New York City, a role that not only helped him pay the bills, but also shaped the tough, streetwise persona he would later bring to the big screen. Diesel, whose real name is Mark Sinclair, adopted the name Vin Diesel during this period. Vin comes from his stepfather's last name, Vincent, and Diesel was a nickname he earned from friends who said he was always full of energy, like a diesel engine. Being a bouncer in the rough nightlife scene of 1980s and early 1990s New York required Diesel to develop a commanding presence, which would later translate well into his roles in action films. The experience also gave him a first-hand look at human behaviour, conflict and confidence, valuable tools for an aspiring actor and filmmaker. During this time, he was also pursuing a career in theatre and began writing and directing his own short films to break into the industry. What many people don't know is that Vin Diesel has a fraternal twin brother named Paul Vincent. Paul keeps a much lower public profile compared to his famous sibling. While Diesel is known for his roles in blockbuster franchises like Fast and Furious and Riddick, Paul works more behind the scenes, including reported work in the field of film editing and sound. The brothers are close, but Paul has largely avoided the limelight, allowing Diesel to carry the spotlight while maintaining a more private life. Diesel has occasionally spoken about his twin in interviews, and a few rare photos of them together have circulated online, often surprising fans who had no idea he had a sibling, let alone a twin. Despite their different career paths, the brothers share a deep bond, and Diesel has expressed admiration for his brother's quiet strength and grounded nature. These lesser-known details about Vin Diesel's early life and family background add dimension to his tough guy image. From bouncing at nightclubs under a pseudonym to becoming one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors, all while sharing his journey with a twin brother behind the scenes, Diesel's story is one of transformation, persistence, and surprising depth.
Emma Watson, best known for her role as Hermione Granger in the Harry Potter film series, was born on April 15, 1990, in Paris, France. Her parents, both British lawyers, were working in Paris at the time, and she spent the first 5 years of her life living in the French capital. Although her family moved back to England when she was still a child, her early years in France left a lasting impression and formed the foundation of her bilingualism. Because of her early exposure to the French language, Watson speaks fluent French, a fact that surprises many fans who primarily associate her with her British identity. She has demonstrated her language skills in interviews and public appearances, and she occasionally uses French in speeches or when traveling abroad. While she's mentioned that her French isn't perfect, she maintains a strong grasp of the language and continues to use it when she can. Watson's multicultural upbringing contributed to her global outlook and adaptability, traits that have helped her transition smoothly from acting into activism and public speaking on an international stage. Her ability to communicate in French has proven especially useful in her humanitarian work, such as her advocacy for gender equality with the United Nations, where engaging with diverse audiences is essential. Overall, Watson's Parisian birth and bilingual abilities are lesser-known facets of her identity that highlight her international background and cultural depth. These elements not only enrich her public persona, but also reflect her intellect and versatility, qualities that have helped her evolve far beyond her early image as a child star.
Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, began what would become one of the most influential and valuable companies in the world from remarkably humble beginnings. In 1994, Bezos left his job at a hedge fund in New York and moved to Seattle to pursue his idea of creating an online bookstore. A bold move at a time when the internet was still in its infancy. He founded the company originally as Cadabra, which was quickly renamed Amazon for its alphabetical and global appeal. He launched the business out of his garage, using the limited space and resources he had to get the venture off the ground. In the early days of Amazon, Bezos was known for his resourcefulness and frugality. Rather than investing in expensive office furniture, he and his small team made makeshift desks out of wooden doors purchased from Home Depot. These door desks became a symbol of Amazon's early culture of frugality, practicality, and ingenuity. The door desk model even became somewhat legendary within the company, representing a commitment to keeping costs low and focusing on what mattered most, serving the customer. Bezos worked long hours from his garage, filling orders, coding the website, and managing the logistics of a growing online operation. In 1995, Amazon.com officially went live, offering books to customers across the United States. The company quickly expanded, buoyed by its innovative use of customer reviews, personalized recommendations, and a strong emphasis on customer satisfaction. Over the years, Bezos's garage startup grew into a colossal global enterprise, but the story of its modest beginnings continues to inspire countless entrepreneurs. The tale of using door desks in a suburban garage captures the spirit of innovation and grit that helped turn Amazon into one of the world's most powerful and disruptive companies.
Thank you for watching. We hope these mind-blowing facts left you amazed and inspired. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because there's plenty more where that came from. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.